Hello everyone, this is the Final Game Trailers, and on today's episode, goodbye Kojima. I'm happy, I'm an internet commenter, I'm glad you're gone. Welcome to the show, I am Kyle Game Trailers, and I'm feeling much better this week. Last week, if you missed the episode, I performed while very sick, very unwell, which is why we're introducing a new segment for this week's episode called What We Learned Last Week. Number one, hey, if you're feeling sick, just don't do the show. Number two, this is pronounced DNA. Number three, Nintendo is in fact developing those mobile games. Number four, Tom Bissell, Mike Bithell. Dave Bickle, Mark Bishel, Greg Bimmel, Molk Bibble. Got it. Oh my, got it. Okay, that's all straightened out. Let's start the episode for this week. Big hubbub last week. Oh my gosh, what happened last week? How do I even introduce this to you if you're not familiar with what happened? Konami, just a legendary video game developer, had already said, hey, we're gonna do some restructuring. I guess we had a little bit of warning. And restructuring is not bad news. Everybody restructures, that's okay, that's just a natural part of business. However, suddenly, boom, the headlines hit. Hideo Kojima no longer has any executive position at Konami as of April 1st, 2015. Kojima Productions Los Angeles has been renamed Konami Productions Los Angeles. Hideo Kojima is no longer a Konami employee. He and his studio have become contracted employees. Kojima rumored to be leaving Konami in the new year. Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions have been removed from all Metal Gear Solid 5 marketing materials. Just hit after hit after hit. Something happened, something went down. No one could talk about it because of non-disclosure agreements. There's a press release afterward that says, hey everyone, listen up. Everything's fine. We're gonna work together. We're still gonna make this game. So don't worry, that little video game you all play won't be affected at all. I was like, wait, that doesn't make us feel better. What happened to you two? And so obviously I'm very upset about this. Obviously I can't guess too much what happened between the two parties. What I want to do today, instead of just being upset about this, is to try to figure out this story. The story of Hideo Kojima, the director who flew too close to the sun. There are 0 video game directors who have the status of Hideo Kojima. There's no one else with that status who is directing a video game. That's pretty crazy. That will cease to exist as of April 1st. When Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, no one will ever have that status. That's pretty crazy. There are plenty of smaller games that have directors like, oh, this is my game, my name is Jonathan Blow, and this is my game. However, like a AAA game, a game that is that expensive with one person's name attached, probably won't happen for a very long time. That was it, that was our shot, it's gone. And I've seen a lot of people shrug their shoulders and say, who cares? Brandon Jones says, who cares? Who cares if they took him off the box? Why should one person take credit for the work of hundreds of people? My answer to that, as always, is that person should get credit because that is the one person who is willing to take responsibility for this project. Brandon, I've heard what you had to say about this. You know, we're not getting into this again. I mean, we'll talk about this later. It's very distracting to have you here. Like, somebody should take the responsibility for a game. You need that. You need someone to say, hey, this is great. Hey, this is not good. You need to redo this or I will fire you. You need that person. Like Valve. Good job putting everyone's name at the credits. Good job just having a list of names in alphabetical order, like you're all equal. However, that is not true, you're not all equal. And this might sound crazy, but I think that philosophy of just like, hey, we're all equals here, I think that's the reason why Half-Life 2 Episode 3 will never come out. I think that this whole nobody's responsible is the reason why that game will never appear. No, who's responsible for that? No one. I'm making a documentary. What do? I do Dota 2. What do you do? I just hang out and play with VR. Get in the credits, bro. It's like, that is what that company does right now. Oh boy. And the thing is, if you think of, right now, in your brain, think of franchises, video game franchises that you could play on your NES that are still relevant today, still relevant and going. Try to think of some. I think Nintendo has Mario, has Zelda, has Kirby, actually. I think we can count Metroid. It's been a while for Metroid. Just very few franchises. Maybe we can count Tetris. That was on the NES. You can, from Square Enix, you could definitely count Final Fantasy. You could definitely count Dragon Quest. And from Konami, you had Castlevania. I'm not sure if that's alive or not. And you have Metal Gear. The difference, I mean, it's not even a lot of games. The difference between Metal Gear and all those other franchises is that there has been one person behind each of those games. Don't count Metal Gear 2 on NES, that doesn't count, you know that doesn't count. But this one person has been in charge of each and every single one of those games from the 80s to today, still relevant. No one else does that. Here's the problem behind that, is that it's also rare because he owns that franchise. Konami owns the rights to the franchise, but Kojima is that franchise. If you think of even, I guess the next closest example would be Eiji Aonuma with Zelda. Nintendo allows him to be the face of Zelda. Look at this interview. This was in Game Informer this month. This is like Zelda's keeper. Zelda's keeper, and they're showing his face. Here I am. I'm in charge of Zelda now. I don't direct anymore, but I'm in charge of Zelda. Troubling question. This is the third question asked in this interview. What is your relationship with Mr. Miyamoto? Okay, Aonuma says, first and foremost, he is my boss, so I have to do what he says. If he says that we are going to make a game a certain way, then of course that is something I'll do. That's, I mean, God, oh God. You already know how much Miyamoto bugs me. Someday I'll do my Miyamoto episode, but oh my God. Aonuma's not in charge, obviously not. No one can be in charge. Oh God. You know, Miyamoto's not directed one game since a Mario Paint game for the disk system. That weird disk system for the N64. Ocarina of Time before that, but then, you know, Mario Paint for this, and then never directed a game since. Directs 3 little Pikmin movies, but no video games. Waltzes around the office asking people why they're putting rocks where they did. I'm not making that up. That's what Miyamoto says. He's proud that he asks people where his rocks are. Why'd you put that rock there? Miyamoto. When he's making Super Mario Brothers, nobody's like, hey, why'd you put that cloud there, Miyamoto? God, like that's not conducive to creativity. Why'd you put that cloud there? Why is that there? Why anything? Let me tell you that you're doing that wrong. Oh man. Oh, it gets me worked up. We gotta move on. We're talking about Kojima today, not Miyamoto. Bring that temperature down. If we could talk about Hollywood for a second, we're gonna get a Hollywood zone. Let's still get into entourage mode. Let's think about the Kardashians for a second. Let's think about big pictures. Let's talk about cinema, the silver screen. Let's talk about how movies are made. Directors in Hollywood are normally a big deal. You normally get a lot of credit if you're a director as opposed to what you get as a video game director. However, directors are very rarely in charge of a franchise. If you have a long-lasting franchise, it's very rare that you have one director who's directing each film, because if you're a movie studio, you don't want a director in charge of it. You don't want a director's voice to control your franchise. So what you do is, like, if you got Harry Potter, you get a different director for each one. You got James Bond, I need a different director. Mission Impossible, I need a different director. And so it's actually a good deal. If you're a director, big whoop, you know, if you get replaced on the next movie. You got to direct that franchise, like a Marvel movie. You come in, you direct your Marvel movie, you do Thor 2, you get a little credibility, you go on, you direct any movie you want after that. Marvel says goodbye, thank you for that. A recent example of something that's kind of close to this Kojima scenario, Edgar Wright was going to direct Ant-Man. It was lined up, it was happening. He made a script with one other writer, they had it going. Marvel looks at it and says, oh, no, here's our new script. And Edgar Wright says, no, it's not quite my vision, here's the script. And Marvel says, oh, okay, go. We don't need you. And Edgar Wright says, what, I'm the director. And Marvel said, you are expendable. Welcome to the modern era of cinema, where directors are nothing. And that's how that is. Here's the thing. Video game publishers, movie studios, they are the ones who make the financial investment. Directors, yeah, they are the people who are creative and are actually making money for the studios, but they're not putting the money down. And so that's why the people with that money get to make those decisions. They get to take you off the box if they so choose. I think that taking Kojima off this box is a bad decision, though. It's a spiteful decision. I think here, taking Kojima's name off the box is like, it's obvious Konami wants it. They have one huge franchise left, maybe Winning 11. I don't know if that counts. They have one huge franchise left and someone else's name on it, that's like, nuh-uh, this is our franchise. We want this. They have every right to do that. However, how do you, a day after you say you're taking Kojima off the box, how do you also say, we're hiring for the next game in the Metal Gear franchise? Send us your applications, everybody. How do you do that? That's not only like immediately spiteful and disrespectful, that is also bad marketing, like straight up bad marketing. You just said Metal Gear Solid 5 is not coming out till September, but we're making a new one already. When you play that game in September, rest assured, this is simply another chapter to tide you over until the next sequel. They're gonna Assassin's Creed this game. And that's crazy. Kojima would not have done that. This whole thing, this recent turn of events, had me rereading the final hours of Metal Gear Solid 2. This is something that Jeff Keighley wrote in 2001. I didn't read it till, I think, a couple of years ago. And it still holds up. It's still very interesting. I gained a lot of respect, not just for Keighley, but Kojima after reading this. It's cool to read. One particular part I want to talk about that always stood out to me is that in the year 2000, prior to E3, people developing PlayStation 2 games didn't know what other people's PlayStation 2 games looked like. So Kojima's working on Metal Gear Solid 2 right now without any clue of what other PS2 games look like. He's nervous. And then there's a leaked screenshot of some other game, some other PS2 game, and he's like, oh my God, this is so good. They're not gonna like what I made. People are gonna think my game's garbage. Metal Gear Solid 2 sucks. It's like, so he makes this 9-minute trailer. He's not feeling good about it. He's on the plane to Los Angeles. He's doomed. He's like, oh my God, what am I even gonna, they're gonna just laugh at me. I don't have enough polygons in my character models. I'm a sham. I can relate to this feeling. So he goes there, he's at E3. Sony has presented the PlayStation 2. It's coming this year. You can buy it. Here's the price. And then Konami presents. Kojima comes. He gets to introduce his trailer. He presents it in English. He memorized the speech in English on the plane ride. He's nervous. He's like, okay, here's Metal Gear Solid 2. Trailer goes on, 9 minutes. At the end, people are cheering. They don't just like Kojima's trailer, they're cheering for it. He went from, oh, this is garbage, they're gonna hate it. Oh my gosh, they love it. This is my favorite excerpt. I'm just gonna read this. Flying back to Tokyo after the show, Kojima was on top of the world. Those few days were the best time of my life, to be honest. I remember sitting on that plane and just saying to myself quietly, I need to keep my cool here. I need to not get too excited or consider myself a star. I need to maintain a level of humbleness. Kojima was feeling pretty good about himself when he got back to Tokyo. In fact, he couldn't wait to tell his wife about how he had the best few days in his life. Arriving at his house in Tokyo, Kojima greeted his wife and began to tell her about E3. I told her about how great everything went, and she just sort of said, oh, really? That's nice. He recalls with a laugh. It was really sad because I couldn't even begin to share my true level of excitement with her. I really wish she would have been there to see the reactions at E3. That's the origin story. This is the reason why Kojima is who Kojima is today. That's why he makes a company called Kojima Productions. That's why it's a Hideo Kojima game. So he can say, look, honey, I'm there, I'm on the box, baby. Look, I'm something, baby, I'm something. I'm in this game, I'm in Ground Zeroes. Look, I'm there, baby. You have to save me in this game. Great, sweetheart, good job, you're in a video game. I don't know what to tell you. Just Appreciate me for once, baby. I love you. Oh, Hideo, I know that you love me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, God. She's never gonna love that man. And that's the guy who owned a franchise and no longer does. What I mean to say is, where I'm getting at is, yeah, next year, 2016, Hideo Kojima will be a free man. The next game he works on, if it is the size of Metal Gear Solid 5, it's not gonna be his. No one's gonna put that much money into a game that belongs to someone else. Why would you? Why would you invest a ton of money into something that you can't own? That's not an investment. If it's something smaller, it will be his. He'll be able to do whatever he wants, but it'll never be on the scale of Metal Gear Solid 5. So it's very interesting. This might be the last true Metal Gear Solid game after all. All it took was a very snapping, violent exit of Kojima and his team. People say I whine too much these days, so let's be happy about this somehow. This is good news. This next game's gonna be great. Everyone, that is the show for this week. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Game Trailers. I'll be back here next Wednesday. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, Mr. Miyamoto.
Why'd you put that rock there?
I don't know, I just put it there.
Well, you were wrong. The rock goes here.
Why?
Oh, 'cause that's more fun. You know, Miyamoto knows fun. That's why I made those 2 dumb demos about robots that nobody liked at E3.
But you just said that nobody liked.
Yeah, you know, simple person, you have to understand that everyone's wrong. I'm right. Super Mario Galaxy 1 is a disappointment. Miyamoto, king of fun. Hello there, what are you working on? Dark Souls?
That man should keep making our business decisions.